Hey folks, hope you're doing well. So we have to start with the status of education, and we are at the decline of Mughal Empire, and this is chapter number 4 for Spectrum Modern History. Let's start with this. The education imparted in the 18th century India was still traditional, which could not match with the rapid developments in the West. The knowledge was confined to literature, law, religion, philosophy, and logic, and excluded the study of physical and natural sciences, technology, and geography. In fact, due to over reliance placed on ancient learning, any original thought got discouraged. Elementary education among the Hindus and the Muslims was quite widespread. The Hindus and Muslim elementary schools were called pathshalas and maktabs, respectively. The education was confined to reading, writing, and arithmetic. Children from the lower caste sometimes attended the schools, but female presence was rare. Tols, as they were called in Bihar and Bengal, were the centers of higher education. Some of the famous centers for Sanskrit education were Kashi, that is Varanasi, Tirhut, Mithila, Nadia, and Utkala. Madrasahs were the institutions of higher learning for Persian and Arabic, Persian being the court language and learned by Muslims as well as the Hindus. Azimabad, Patna was a famous center for Persian education. People interested in the study of Quran and Muslim theology had to acquire proficiency in Arabic. Societal setup. Many castes, many sects. The society of 18th century India was characterized by the traditional outlook and stagnation. Though there existed a certain degree of broad cultural unity, people were divided by caste, religion, region, tribe, and language. The family system was primarily patriarchal, and caste was the central feature of the social life of the Hindus. Apart from the four Varnas, Hindus were divided into numerous subcastes which permanently fixed their place in the social scale. Though the choice of profession was mainly determined by the caste considerations, exceptions occurred on a large scale, making caste status quite fluid in some parts of the country. Caste councils and panchayats enforced caste norms and regulations. Even though Islam enjoyed social equality on the Muslims, they too were divided by considerations of caste, race, tribe, and status. Religious considerations not only kept the Sunni and Shia nobles apart but also the Irani, Afghan, Turani, and Hindustani Muslims nobles and officials apart from one another. The Sharif Muslims, consisting of nobles, scholars, priests, and army officers, were often looked down upon the Elaf Muslims or the lower class Muslims in a manner similar to the way of the higher caste Hindus treated the lower caste Hindus. Religious conversions occurred in the caste proved to be a major divisive force in the element of disintegration in the 18th century India. Position of women in the society. In the patriarchal family system in India, except in some social groups in Kerala, women possessed little individuality of their own, though there were a few exceptions. While the upper class women remained at home, lower class women worked in the fields and outside their homes, supplementing the family income. Certain outdated and exploitative social customs and traditions such as the parda, sati, child marriage, and polygamy did exist, which hindered the progress of women. The plight of Hindu widow was usually miserable. The evil of dowry was especially widespread in Bengal and Rajputana. Sensitive Indians were often touched by the hard and harsh life of the widows. Raja Savai Jai Singh of Amer and Maratha General Parshuram Bhau tried to promote widow remarriage but failed. Menace of Slavery. European travelers and administrators who came to India in the 17th century reported the widespread prevalence of slaves in India. It is believed that some people were compelled to sell their offspring due to economic distress, famines, natural calamities, and extreme poverty. Generally, higher classes of Rajputs, Khatris, Kayasts kept women slaves for domestic work. However, the status of slaves in India was better than that in Europe. Slaves were usually treated as hereditary servants rather than as menials. Marriages took place among the slaves, and the offspring coming out of such a wedlock were considered free citizens. The advent of Europeans heightened the slavery and slave trade in India. European trading companies purchased slaves from the markets of Bengal, Assam, Bihar, and took them to European and American market. Abyssinian slaves were sold at Surat, Madras, and Calcutta. Developments in art, architecture, and culture. The decline of the imperial Mughals forced talented people to seek patronage of newly established state courts like Hyderabad, Lucknow, Jaipur, Murshidabad, Patna, Kashmir, etc. At Lucknow, Asif-ud-Dawla built the Bada Imambara in 1784. The first half of 18th century, Savai Jai Singh built the Pink City of Jaipur and 5 astronomical observatories at Delhi, Jaipur, Benares, Mathura, and Ujjain. He also prepared a set of timetables called Jij Muhammad Shahi to help the people in study of astronomy. In the south, in Kerala, the Padmanapuram Palace, famous for its architecture and mural paintings, was constructed. New schools of painting were born and achieved distinction. The paintings of Rajputana and Kangra schools became prominent and revealed new vitality and taste. A distinct feature of literary life of the 18th century was the growth of Urdu language and poetry. It was the period of Urdu poets like Mir Sauda, Nazir, and Mirza Ghalib, 19th century. In South India, Malayalam literature flourished under the patronage of the Travancore rulers. Kalakattu Kanchan Nambiar was noted Malayalam poet. The Tamil language was enriched by Sittar poetry. Tayyum Manawar, 1706 to 44, was one of the best exponents of Sittar poetry. Protested against the abuses of temple rule and the caste system. He Ranjha was the romantic epic in Punjabi literature and was composed by Waris Shah. In Sindhi literature, Shah Abdul Latif composed Risalo, a collection of poems. These are just some examples of literary works in regional languages. And I believe we have finished this chapter. In the next part, we'll start with chapter number 5, that is expansion and consolidation of the British power in India. Thank you everyone for tuning in. All the best for exams. Do share and subscribe to the channel and keep supporting us. Thank you everyone for tuning in. All the very best.